Let's talk the club. One more thing, like, subscribe and share. Come on, let's talk the club. Woo!
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Cutler on the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube platform, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk to Cutler platform, where we spend about 1,800 seconds together every Tuesday, where we're talking about things that I hope are inspirational, things that are motivational, and things that will sometimes challenge us to be our best selves and show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. You know, that is always my goal, to try to show up my best self, even in the worst of situations, because the worst of situations, they just show up. They knock on your door when you least expect it, when you don't know about it. And they are there. They are there without any introduction, without any warning, without any any premeditation. They just show up, and it is up to us to make good. It is up to us to make sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Do me a favor, if you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe. And after you subscribe, click on the notification bell. Now, I don't know where it is on your particular device. It may be down there, up there, over there, or over there. But wherever it is, do me a favor and go ahead and click on it, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live or whenever I have uploaded new content. And as you're coming into the room this evening, do me a favor, say hi to everybody and make sure that you say hello, so that way I can see you, acknowledge you, and what have you. Because there's something in particular, something that I want to talk about. As the year is beginning, and things like this happen as the year is beginning, we're here just on the 14th already, and I've heard about a number of people who have passed. I've heard about a number of deaths, and sometimes it can be overwhelming when you think you're getting the year started, or when you're in the beginning of something and you have hopes and dreams and ambitions, and then you hear about things such as death. And it just sort of rocks you for a moment. It sort of shakes you for just a moment. Well, that really is how life is, and that's how life operates, and that's what life does. And so, one of my challenges to us this evening, excuse me, is to make sure that we secure our friendships as we are going into this year. Make sure that you have secured your friendships, because you don't necessarily know how and when you're going to need your friends this year, perhaps in a way that you didn't necessarily need them before. So I encourage us to do that. This evening, I really want to have an homage to friendship. I want to take a look at the ways that some of my friends have shown up, and I want to really go back and play an old clip of a conversation that we had. Many of you remember that a couple of years ago, several years ago now, when my dad passed. It was a time when I needed friends and I wanted them around. And so my friends, who were at the time the producers of my platform, they showed up. Listen, let me tell you what we did. It was in the midst of COVID, but we showed up. Everybody showed up, and they made sure that we had all gotten tested, and we shared our test results with each other to make sure that it was a safe space for us to come together. And we got together, and they came there, and we chit chatted, and we had a discussion about my book. I think my book had just come out that year, and we sat around and we talked about my book. We read from some passages, and it was just an on the site impromptu kind of conversation. Come on in and say hi in the chat. I see some of you are there, but you're not over in the chat just yet. But we had a conversation just about some of the things in the book, and it was a great conversation. And so I want to go back and share that with you all this evening. But again, I urge all of us, I urge every single one of us, as the year is beginning, make sure that you firm up your friends, firm up your community, firm up your village, because again, you never know how or when you're going to need them in a way this year that you didn't necessarily need them in the past. I also encourage you not to just necessarily firm and shore up your friends because you might need them, but because they might need you. Life is happening, life is fleeting, life is like a vapor on the water, and we just don't know how long for some people it's going to last. And so I opened the I opened this show within the context of saying, or this conversation this evening within the context of saying, here we are at the 14th of the year, and I've heard about a number of deaths. As a matter of fact, I'm delivering a eulogy this coming Saturday. And so I want to make sure that I encourage people to know who and where their friends are. Make sure that you're in contact. Make sure that you're connected with them. Again, this is just a challenge to make sure that you say, let me see who's in my network. Let me see who's in my village. Let me see who really is in my circle of friends. Let me see the people who are going to count on me this year. Let me make sure I know the people that I can count on this year. So yeah, this is one of those calls to inventory. This is a call to action to make sure that we're clear about who's there for us, who's in our corner, who's in our space, who I can pick up the phone, who I can text, who I can just shoot an email. Make sure that your circle of friends is firmly identified, and give thanks for them. Give thanks for having friends in your space. So again, this evening is an homage to friendship. And what I want to do is to go back and take a look at, invite you into a discussion that some of you may have been a part of, some of you might remember, but just a conversation when some of my friends got together in a moment when I needed them most. This is when my dad passed. Again, some of my friends came over. And as you are listening to their conversation and to our conversation, I want you to think about, who are my friends? Who could I have called over in a moment like that? Or for whom could I have been there? And then I'll see if I can play the majority of the conversation. And then I'll come right back and we can have a chat about it. But I do want to thank all of you for being here, and for the LTTC VIPs this evening. The first three that I see are Annie Cutler, Paula D, Tracy Johnson. And again, just know that this is just a reminder that we need to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. And yeah, a whole lot of worst situations are taking place. Tracy, thank you for reminding us your prayers for the people in California with the fires and those who've lost loved ones and their homes and their belongings and what have you. And so, yeah, our prayers and thoughts are certainly there with them, because there are innumerable people who have been affected. Innumerable people who have been affected out on the West Coast by the fire. And so, while those who they've been affected there, they have family members who have been impacted across the country. So let's just be mindful of what's happening in other people's lives, and be mindful that things, life is filled with swift transitions. That means that in life there are a lot of things that are moving fast, a lot of changes that are taking place. So people used to say here today, gone tomorrow, but in many instances, it is here today, gone today. And so this is not a message of gloom and doom. This is just a message to say, be thankful for friends, be thankful for friendships, and make sure, here's the challenge, make sure that you secure and firm up your friends. What I want to do is just share my screen for just a moment. Really, are you going to do that? Yeah, I want to share my screen and invite you all to go back to a conversation when some of my friends showed up in such a wonderful way that I had not necessarily, that I didn't necessarily know that I would need them. It was when my father passed unexpectedly. Let's go into this conversation. It's a fun conversation. It's filled with laughter. It's filled with introspection. So yeah, it's not a sad one. So you don't have to break out the tissue at all. Let's just go to this conversation. Hang on just a second. I want to share this with you. Let's see. Right. Let me see how, because I don't think I've ever shared my screen. So I'm getting ready to do that now. Let's just share this screen. Here we go. Let's see. I want to make sure that, look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. Yeah, y'all, I'm doing this just to make sure that. So here I go. And I'm sharing this.
Click like, click share, tag somebody so they read. That's not how it goes.
But this is
because the Let's Talk the Color Show don't rhyme with click share.
So what should I say?
Tag somebody so they'll be there.
Okay, so
I'm
they'll be
trying
there.
to
Okay,
Go
start
ahead.
the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
show. The show.
The show started. I'm trying to start.
Well, the show don't start till the song
But you
starts.
gotta let the people know that click like,
And
click
click
share, tag somebody so they'll be here. Click
Come
like,
on.
click share, tag somebody so they'll be here. Tag
No, but
somebody,
he said
tag some.
it started.
We
For real.
Oh, you
Okay.
started the show?
we
We
started.
play
Okay,
too
go
much.
ahead. Go ahead.
We
Do it,
started.
Cutler. Do it, Cutler. Do it. I'm sorry.
You good?
Devin got me.
Y'all, hi. This,
Again.
Hi.
this is Cutler from the Let's Talk to Cutler show. And Rob, listen, I wanted to say for the next 1,800 seconds,
18.
I'll be there in your living room, your family room, your den, or wherever you allow me to join you. And
I'm sorry. Okay, come on, good. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead.
you may have seen them a couple days ago because the show, y'all all right?
It's him.
Because the all right, the show this week. Did I say 1,800 seconds? Listen,
Yeah.
a lot of them, I think 90 have already gone by. But listen, this is
Okay.
Cutler from the Let's Talk to Cutler show, and I know the platform and the
Yes.
stage and the people look different. God knows they sound different. But
I mean,
this for I didn't say it was a bad
okay.
thing. I didn't say it was a bad thing. I didn't say it was good or bad. But anyway,
Do they have the tea?
hey y'all,
Do they have
listen.
the tea?
But I hope you brought something to drink. But for the next few seconds, it was 1,800. We're down. The count is off. But listen, we're in your living room, your family rooms, your den, or wherever you've given me the privilege of joining you, giving us the privilege of joining you. I know the set looks a little different, and the people, a few people here. But of course, this Let's Talk to Cutler show, we're going to talk to you and give you some inspiration and motivation, and we're going to base our conversations on this book,
the book.
Billboards to Better. You
That'll
do
do
know
it.
that there are 366 motivational and inspirational sayings along the highway of life. We're all in this thing together. So these are
Yes.
sources of motivation and inspiration. You can find the book at www.gbcutler.com, or you can just go to Amazon and pick up the book. Either way, join us, get the book and join us. What we're doing here, we're talking about real life situations. We're reading the book every Tuesday, rather. We're looking at Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Every Thursday, we're looking at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday is all day your way. Bring into the conversation whoever you want to talk about, and then jump back on, and we're back here again Tuesday. So listen, what we've done and what we're doing this week, this is one of those let's meet the producers. I know it's the Let's Talk to Cutler show, but let's talk to the Cutler staff and meet the producers. One of the things that I ask my good friends here, I just don't refer to them as producers, but I refer to them as my friends, because recently I lost my dad suddenly and unexpectedly, and we wanted to dedicate the most recent two shows to honor my father, James Albert Cutler, who again passed suddenly and unexpectedly. So we wanted to do that, just not from me, but from the Let's Talk to Cutler platform. So the producers, who are my friends, are here. So you guys, you can introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Devin,
Copycat.
aka there she is, aka Hey Girl Hey, and that's Juan. So
No. That one you're not going to see. Copycat, you're not going to do that. My
And
name
he's
is
Juan.
new platform, new names. J Song. How y'all doing?
And how's that spelled?
JSONG. And if you want to make it personal, J Song for you. That's me. I like that.
J
Look
Song.
at my teeth.
Lord have
So it's
mercy.
just one F. It's just one song.
Copycat, let me tell you
I'm
something.
just asking a question for clarification. Is it one or two songs? I need to know this. Hurry up, we only have 70
It depends
seconds.
on who you are. You
So
make
then
it-
my name is D Songs with an F. Multiple songs. And his is for you, mine is for y'all. Boom.
to honor
You
my
a
son.
dummy.
Okay.
You a dummy.
Boom. Did you say boom?
Boom.
Boom.
That was good. There she is, for real. Okay.
Y'all,
That's my J song.
they're not here all the time. Maybe they should be, or if they decide not to, maybe there's a reason. I don't know.
Well, listen,
You
I'm
are-
sorry.
listen.
If she comes back, I won't be here.
How many
Okay.
times has he been on? Because I would need to know. Has
Well,
he
you-
been on without me before?
No, you all have been on here
I'm
at the
not
same
making
time.
sure. Because
Do me a favor. Put in the chat if you think they should be here more often, or send me an email to
Oh,
talk to
goodness.
Cutler. That's talk the number 2 Cutler, CUTLER, @gmail.com, and let me know what you think. Tell me if you think they should be here on a more regular basis, if they should be here more frequently. I'd like to hear from
People probably
you.
say no.
Keep them locked up.
Put them back in the back.
See, right, keep them behind the
Just
scenes.
as long as they don't throw me off with this click like your note is. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to get it started.
Somebody so very
Oh, Lord.
Click like
I'm not doing
right
it.
now.
I'm
Don't
Yeah.
do it now. Somebody so
Right.
they'll be here.
Right. So do me a favor. Go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and like the video where you see the thumbs up. Not necessarily in the comments, but right there where you see the thumbs up. Go ahead and like the video, and then show your comments. Make sure that you share. And if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe. Go ahead and
Bell.
subscribe. So when you subscribe, then you'll see a bell, and you can click on that, and you'll get notifications to let you know whenever the Let's Talk the Cutler show is on live and direct. Right there, we're visiting and we're spending 1,800 seconds with you.
But the other
And
thing
go
is
ahead.
with the bell.
Uh-huh.
So if you
Talk about the bell,
Talk
Juan.
about the
if Cutler
bell.
decides to just talk to y'all in the morning, you won't
Uh-huh.
miss them. If he decides to jump on,
Huh?
if there's something hot going on, you'll catch them.
Yeah.
And if it's outside of the Tuesday or Thursday,
Preach.
so make sure you hit that bell,
My God.
subscribe, and notifications. What is the notifications? Notifications.
Yes, absolutely, because that way you'll be notified to let you know whenever I'm on live.
Right.
You certainly will.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I want to.
Tell the people.
No, not at all. Not at all.
What
About-
copycat say? What
No,
copycat
it was,
Copycat
it,
say?
it was just a matter of emphasizing the bell,
bell.
so that you'll be
Ring the
notified.
bell.
Absolutely.
Yes,
All right.
I'm sorry.
So, listen, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and talk about 3 of our motivational and inspirational sources out of the book. We're going to look at August 19th, 20th, and 21st. So if you've got the book, go ahead, pull the book out. We're going to read together, and we're going to talk about what it means to you. Again, the book can be found on www.gbcutler.com.
I'll put my book first.
All right.
I'll
All
put my
right.
book before we-
And share it. We're just here. We're going to talk about really real events. Okay, so again, we only have 1,800 seconds to be there in your house. Yes, sir.
Can I read first before her?
You can read because I like the other one. I
Okay.
like them both.
I like
All right.
all of them.
I like them all too.
So do me a favor. Go on and turn to August 19th.
August
Let's
19th.
talk about August 19th. Juan. What does it say?
If I'm going to choose the wrong seat,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather it be one of humility rather than one of honor.
Mhm.
There is no need for God to exalt you if you're going to exalt yourself.
Honey.
Oh, I love that.
What are you trying to say, Juan? This better than yours. It's the Lord.
Think about that.
Think about it. And
Go
then
ahead.
start shouting.
Preach, copycat, preach!
No, I was being a copycat. That was nothing but the Lord.
Right. Nothing but. But and you know, we can laugh at this one and talk about it tongue in cheek, but it really means that wherever you place yourself in life, place yourself someplace where you can always go up, where you can always grow, where you can always expand, where you can always thrive, where you can always become better. Because if you're not sure where you're going in life, don't allow your ego to take you someplace where you're not sure you should be there or not.
Right.
Instead of doing that, say, you know what, I'm going to place myself either professionally, emotionally, or socially. I'm going to place myself in a position where I know I can always grow, where I can always do better. And for me, that's what I try to do in life. And, you know, I wrote another book, We Don't Always Get It Right the First Time. And I don't always get that right the first time. But thank God I've gotten to the point where I realize wherever I'm going, always strive to be better. So this really speaks to me, because if I make the mistake of sitting in a seat, I think that sometimes I can cut off, I can thwart, I can just deny myself the opportunity to go further, because there I put myself somewhere when that's not where God really intended for me to be. And I think that's true even in, you know, relationships with friends, your siblings, your family, on the job. Make sure that you think and you meditate and you give some thought and you pray. If you pray, make sure that you give some thought about where am I supposed to be? I want to make sure I'm in the right place. Does that speak to each of you in any way?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's important. It's important to make sure that, not that I'm really the master of my own fate, but I want to be a good steward over what little bit of life God trusts me with, you know. And so even if you don't look at it from a religious perspective, It's about taking the right steps to be the best you,
Right.
but also taking strategic steps so that you can grow.
Right.
Take strategic steps so that you can grow rather on the job,
Mhm.
professionally, even in your education. So some young folk, if you're watching, it's just a matter of saying, all right, I always want to be better. The A
Right.
student always wants to be better. All right.
Yeah.
And so there's always room at the top. And don't be selfish about sharing the top.
Mhm.
Don't be selfish about sharing the top. I said just a few days ago, there's room at the top for everybody,
Right.
and there's a camera lens that's big enough. There's a camera lens that's big enough to shine on everybody. It's called the sun,
Mhm.
right? So we all share that same sun. We have the capability, the wherewithal to glow under that one sun. Don't cut anybody off
Right.
from being able to grow.
And when you choose the seat of humility, you tend to see, when you're looking at people from a humble place, you tend to see what they need. You tend to be more helpful towards them because you're being you're taking the seat of humility,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
God will exalt that
Right.
and place you in a seat of honor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good one. Because I think when we see that word humility, it begins with the same word of humanity and human. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. That's really good. So when you make a conscious choice to really sit in humility,
Mhm.
then you're sitting at a level where you can see other people.
Right.
You're not sitting so high that you can't see other people.
He knows how to say what I want to say.
No,
Come on, Cutler. Do it,
you,
Cutler.
no,
Yes,
no,
yes.
you actually said
Yeah,
it. You said that you sit in a
Mhm.
place where you can see other
Yes.
people. But a lot of times, if we sit in a seat that's so high,
Right.
Yeah.
it means that we don't bother to establish
Mhm.
relationships because now I'm
Yep.
looking down on
Yep.
you. But if I sit in the same place with you,
Mhm.
it's because I realize in this thing called life and this thing called humanity, I'm no better.
Mhm.
Certainly, and I'm no worse, but I'm no better than anybody else.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thank you for that perspective. I really hadn't even thought about it.
And that's
Yeah.
the person God will exalt.
That's
He
right.
will. And for any believers who are watching this, there's a scripture that says that what you do, you have to make sure that you submit and yield and lower almost, so submit and abase yourself before the hands of the Almighty God, and in due time He'll exalt you. So it says really just humble yourself in front of God, and He really will exalt you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we want to put God on a fast track. We want to put God on our schedule, on our calendar.
Mhm.
And again, I want to make this reachable for everybody. So even, and we have to do that.
Yeah,
I want to make this
absolutely.
reachable for everybody. So even some of my friends and brothers and sisters who may not necessarily have a relationship or be religious, sometimes we want life.
Mhm.
We chart life out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll develop our milestones, and we'll say, this is what I want to happen when
Right.
I want to get married here, I want to have
Right.
children here, I want my career to turn this time, I want to be able to do this and that. But sometimes life just doesn't go according to your
That's
schedule.
right.
It doesn't go according to your schedule. And don't be frustrated. Don't be frustrated, but be flexible.
Mhm.
Right.
All right.
Yes.
Don't be angry, but be adaptable.
Right.
So you've got to know how to handle life. Just play the hand that you've been dealt, and I declare you may not always have a winning hand, but there's always a card in your hand that will win something.
Okay.
And just
All right.
because you're on a level that you think that you should be above
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really mean it's not where you're supposed to
Oh,
be.
yeah.
There are people that are assigned to you. There are people that are waiting for you to help them along the way.
Mhm.
And you might not meet these people or be engaged with these people if you're here and they're
Mhm.
still here.
Right.
Mhm.
So there are still some people here that might be dependent on you
Yes.
to pull them up. So
Yeah.
even though you're here based on your credentials,
Yeah.
but you might have to be here in this season in your life. You're
Yeah.
here because you're supposed to be here.
Right.
Yeah.
And there may be somebody connected to you that needs you to be here right now. And then God can,
That's
can
good.
bless you in that on that level.
I like that. It's about listening to life. And that sounds strange. It sounds weird, but sometimes you've just got to listen to life and listen with everything. Listen with your heart. Listen with your eyes. Listen with any intuition that you have. Just listen to life. Let us know what you think about that lesson, and let us know if you are one of those persons who have set your own course, but you realize that there have been times when you just had to go back sort of make some edits, rewrite, retweak, and just sort of wordsmith and say, I need to schedule that a little later, or I should have scheduled that a little earlier. But guess what? Just because you missed what you think is a milestone, I promise you, you didn't miss it.
Right.
You just didn't miss it, but you learned something along the way. Let's take a look at the next date, which is August the 20th. So if you have your books again, make sure that you follow along with us, because we're going to what we're doing. We want to make sure that these are relevant to what's going on in life today. It would make no sense to write this and it's just poetic and just inspirational. You can't inspire if you're talking about something that people aren't going through.
Right.
So let's see what this is about. Lesson for August 20th.
Okay, so even if the place and the process are unfamiliar, the provider is always the same.
Wow.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. That's you know what when I wrote that, and tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about that. A lot of times we want life to go a certain way, and we're looking for things to happen for us, but we have to. This is about relationship. It's all about relationship. You want something better, you want something new, but you're not quite sure what that is. And so what do we do a lot of times? We refuse to put ourselves in the process of getting better, because we don't know what the process looks like. And we don't even know what the end result is going to look like, because we become so afraid, am I going to succeed or am I going to fail? And so we won't even try. A lot of times we won't even try. But one of the things that life has taught me is that if you put yourself in the process, and you put yourself in the process not alone, not alone, this life is not about mechanics and it's not about dynamics, but life is about relationships. Life is about interacting with people. And so even if the process is unfamiliar, the people in the process with you don't have to be unfamiliar. So if you establish relationship, there are people who will grab your hand and walk you right on through.
That's true.
I remember when I was getting ready to go to law school. I'd never gone to law school before, obviously, and I was working, but I knew I wanted better. And do you know that a couple days before I was supposed to leave to go to law school, I completely changed my mind. I said, I'm not going, because I don't know what it's going to look like. I was comfortable with my job. I was comfortable with my career at the time. I had an undergraduate degree in computer systems, and I was teaching, one of the few African-American men teaching at the time in that field. So I was comfortable. And I said, I'm just not going. I had established a choir, and I had stuff to do. And I was good with that. And at the last minute, I was afraid of what the change was going to look like. And I said, I'm not going. Did you know my oldest brother was in the military at the time, came home, packed me up, put me in that car and said, guess what? You're going. And I'm so thankful, because what he and my mother said was that, you know, we've never been there either, but we're in this process with you. And so while all of that was unfamiliar, while all of that was different, the people in the process were the same. And that's all I'm saying. And you know, if you want to put it on a spiritual plateau, God is going to be there. But for those of you, my friends, who may not be so spiritual, just know it's about relationships with people. You were going to jump in and say something, I think, or did I? Yeah.
There are a few people who are stagnant on their job because they're unfamiliar with the next step, how to get to the next step, just afraid of the whole process. So they're sitting in a position and won't reach out and try to get better because of the unknown, of the unfamiliar. So what do you say to them in the workplace?
Yeah. Oh, you know what, Juan? I think probably it happens a lot more in the workplace than we realize. Opportunities are available, and we don't want to apply. Yeah. You know, maybe some companies say, "Hey, we'll pay you to go to school. We'll pay you to do this," but it's unfamiliar. From that perspective, think about the people. Form the relationships with the people. I don't know what this advancement is going to look like, because I've been in this position.
Wow, what a conversation that was. I remember, I hope you all were enjoying that conversation. And I may just have to come back at some point and continue and finish that conversation. Would you all like me to do that? Maybe the next time, just finish that. It was just an interesting dynamic that evening, because I could have been, just bawling over in tears, but the fact that they were there, the fact that I had people there, and we landed on that conversation. The space may, okay, I see you, Linda. I'll do that. But the point of the points that we were making, and this is why I shared this particular clip. A lot of times when life is happening, the space may be unfamiliar. The space may be unfamiliar, and the process may be unfamiliar, but the provider is always the same. And of course, I try to be very ecumenical that evening and talk about it's the people who are sometimes in the process with you. But on a larger scale, on a more spiritual scale, here's the thing. The process may be unfamiliar, and all of those things could be very well happening, but the provider is always going to be the same. And so no matter what this year unfolds and what it unfolds and shows itself to be, no matter what things come your way this year, no matter what unexpected things, we talk about showing up our best selves in the worst of situations. When those situations show up, no matter what shows up on your front door, if it's an unfamiliar process, the provider is always going to be the same. And one of the things that we need to lay hold to and lay claim to is the fact that whatever I'm going through, there is a source that is higher and greater and bigger than I am, who has already gone before me and made the way plain and made the way victorious and made the way successful. And not only has he gone before me and made the way plain and victorious and successful, but he's given me people to navigate that space and meander that space with me. All right, that's enough. That's enough. When we come back next week, I'll share this, the rest of this conversation. But again, it's an homage to friendship. And I encourage us all, as the year is beginning, make sure that you solidify your circle of friends. Make sure that you're clear about what space where you're serving as a friend, so that sometimes you may need people to be there for you, but you can also be there for them. Let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's keep our heads up. Let's keep our hopes up. Let's stay safe and let's stay sane. And until the next time I see you, please know from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Enjoy the rest of your week. Until I see you, tell somebody, come on and let's talk to Cutler. Good night, everybody.